It's Britney, bitch. Like that. You like that? Yeah. Now watch me. Watch me.
Put your drinks in the air. It's about to get stupid up in this beat. All my niggas, all my bitches. This is about that extra shit. Let's go. Jump, jump, jump. Jump, jump, jump. Yeah. Jump, jump, jump. Jump, jump, jump. Jump, 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 jump. Yeah. Jump, jump, jump. Jump, 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 jump.
It's Britney,
Yeah.
bitch. It's been a while.
All right, welcome back to Informed Nostalgia, where we have a very grand topic today. So what is our topic, Sam?
Well, actually, it's funny. I actually wanted to do this one for you. Oh, I mean, it's near to both of our hearts, but it's real. Like, this is really like more even your expertise than mine. We both love her, but we want to do an episode honoring Britney Spears today. She is. She's a pop icon. She's the princess of pop. She's one of the like greatest entertainers of the last 40 years. And her music means like so much to millions of people across the world. What one of the things I find really interesting about her though is that she became a gay icon at a time when not a lot of pop divas really were. I mean, there were, don't get me wrong, absolutely, like Madonna and like all these people, like, all of these. There were several who like came before her, but there was something in particular about her appeal, her style, her music, her dancing and choreography, her presentation that resonated with gay audiences in a way that was unique because her music wasn't directly speaking about gay issues for the most part, the way that somebody like Chapel Roan or Janelle Monáe might, and her, but or in the same way that she was marching for LGBT, like, or directly marching for LGBTQ plus causes. Part of who she is, like the way that like Gaga or Madonna or Cyndi Lauper or Barbara Streisand has. Um, I would like to go down this road with you, talk about what her music means to you, and because you are truly like her unauthorized biographer, I want to talk to you about um, what her music means to you and to us and to like and what like if you want to go through like album by album or uh style by style. Did she have eras before Taylor Swift did it? I don't know. Like, I want to hear first of all your thoughts on like what she means to you, what albums you think are her best, and what about her style and her presentation makes her such a source of inspiration and someone who represents your liberation for you.
Have we even said her name yet?
Yeah, Britney Spears.
I don't know. I didn't hear. I was like, people are going to be watching this like, who are they talking about? No, Britney Spears. I really wanted to take this. I wanted to be like, I've done a video of Britney Spears before, and it was about the conservatorship. And we can touch on that because I think it's important. But I just really wanted to be a celebration of Britney Spears. Like, I do love that, everything's kind of, nostalgic and people are rediscovering Britney, especially because she's still around and she's still on Instagram. But I really wanted to go through, like, I was trying to remember that before we started, like, what was my introduction to Britney Spears? I can't remember the actual moment, but I can't remember the first moment I remember that I had to, that I became like a fan. I think it's the moment. It's the furthest I can remember. But I remember being at one of my really good childhood friends' house. Her name was Jennifer, and she always had like two of my friends, Jennifer and Sam, they always had like the newest cool thing, like whether it was the newest CDs or the newest toys and the newest cool clothes, like everything. She had this CD and she said, "Hey, I have, that song Baby One More Time." And I was like, "Yeah." And she played it and I was like, and I just remember seeing the pictures of Britney and I was like, this is not like her voice is so soulful and she's so, like it was a deeper voice back then. And I was like, this doesn't look like the person that would like sing this. So I just remember listening to that CD at her house, and I was like, I want this CD. Like I want, and it literally, I hadn't had a CD yet. I had a boombox that played tapes, and that's what I had first. And then it had played CDs too. I just hadn't had one. So I remember saving up because we used to get $1 for every A that we got on our report card. And I was 10 years old, and I remember my sister was going to town. She was much older, and I was like, because we didn't live in town. And I was like, "Can you buy this CD for me with this money, please?" Like, and I just remember waiting all day. I could not wait for my sister to get back. And she had the CD, and I remember memorizing that first CD. And then I remember on Disney there was all these performances, and she was always on ABC Family on Saturday morning. She was on the famous Jet Jackson. Like, it was just Sabrina. She was on the Sabrina TV show. Just every and then that movie Drive Me Crazy came back. I had to see that. I had to rent that from Blockbuster. I just became really, I guess obsessed is the word. But I just loved that entire album. I just remember Baby One More Time, Crazy, Sometimes. From the bottom of my broken heart, I loved Soda Pop. I loved I Will Be There. Like any, like I could just hear all the when I listened to it, was it Emo My Heart? There's just so many, like, and the beat goes on, that Cher cover. I just remember just absorbing all of it. Like, and I was like, this is the best thing in the world. And then, so how did you? When was your introduction to Britney Spears? Like when? Because I don't want to dominate the whole thing.
I no, no, it's fine. I mean, I just remember the first time I really noticed her was the "Baby One More Time" video, which was it was her
Yeah.
first single off her first album, and it took place it took place in high school, and it was absolutely just immediately the moment I saw it, I was like, oh my god, this girl is going to be huge. This is at that point early on, it was, and I think I was too young to really understand like the music industry and like what goes on behind the scenes and like how pop stars were as much at the time like a product being manufactured and sold to the public for, but so I was unclear in terms of like how much of that was there versus how much of the choices being made were hers. I mean, she was only 17, so I don't know really at that age. That's also the age where like Svengali is like behind the scenes are like, oh, we're gonna like these are the lyrics you're gonna sing, this is how you're gonna dress, like all that. But the appeal was right there, and obviously the appeal as like she was not yet legal, which was like kind of creepy, which was very creepy. But the sex appeal there was there for like for men, but also but women loved her too. Girls loved her too. Like I remember like all of my like so many of my friends were like singing and dancing along to her album at the time too. Like a lot of my girlfriends, there was just something so very innocent about her, and something so it was weird. It was like it was I think is like it was like it was like sexual and athletic, but also like really really wholesome and just like innocent and like just wanting to like kind of like creating the fantasy for both like boys and girls in a way that it was she was just like she was just so talented, such a great dancer, such an enthusiastic performer, and really understood how to connect with audiences, but also understood. I don't know, like just whatever it was just working, and it was on fire in a way that you really only see like that doesn't come along once in a while, every so often. It's very rare, and it was immediate, and it was connective. Looking back at it now, it's just like one of those. She was just one of those people where obviously she was really hardworking, and they all had to put hard work into it, but it seemed like an effortless spark that a lot of other people had to like really work to maintain. And with her, every time came out with like a new album, it was like it was just like
Yeah, like I agree with all that. I know that Britney Spears is like a product or whatever, but I do love I think one thing that made her different is that obviously she's the blueprint. Like she's one of the first of the teen pop. Like I mean we had Madonna, which is not teen pop, you had people but
yeah.
at the time boys and girl bands were like the big thing. She was actually a part of a girl band called Innocence. She ended up being catapulted to her own thing. And that band did come out and she like I think they toured with her or she did a special with them but nothing came of it. Like the actress from I could be wrong, from Insecure, not Insecure, from what was that? TV show on MTV when the girl's like, "You're welcome."
Remember.
It's called like something. Awkward was part of that Innocence band.
Okay.
I know a lot of Britney Spears stuff. So originally, obviously, we could go back. I remember watching Britney on the Mickey Mouse Club, the new Mickey Mouse Club, but I
Of
didn't,
course.
know it's Britney. She was the understudy to Natalie Portman in a play on Broadway as a kid. Did plays. She really
Star
tried really
Search.
hard to do Star Search. She really. I remember her biggest break was the Mickey Mouse Club, and um, then when it got canceled, they went home. She went to normal. She went to school, and she then all of a sudden, I think she got the call to audition for Jive Records, and she went to Sweden, and she met Max Martin. So I think everything like fell into place at the right time, right? Britney Spears is very beautiful, but she also looks like someone you could know while being
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. She has a lot of versatility. I think while she was told what to perform and what to record early on, she didn't want to do that music video that was space themed and animated and everything for Baby One More Time. She wanted to do what she wanted to do, so she pitched it to them and they let her do it, and it became this iconic imagery that you have now with a schoolgirl because she said that's how we dress back home. That's what we wanted to show our stomachs. So Britney has, I don't like, not you, not, I'm not talking about you, but when people say, oh, Britney Spears is just a product, and I was like, Britney has always been very vocal about what she wants. It may not always, like, she might play it into the game because, like, the money was needed, the family drama was needed
Hmm.
out there. I think Britney always had an eye for what songs and what look, especially in the first, when she had control over or had a say in her career in the first in the first five albums.
Mm.
I can remember when Oops, I Did It Again came out. I remember my sister used to play softball, and we used to travel all over the country to watch her play softball. And that
Mm.
album came out, and we were at Walmart, and there was a storm going on. It was a terrible storm. And I remember being like, "Can I get the Britney Spears CD? Can I please get it?" And I remember getting it, putting it in my portable CD player, and listening to it while these storms are going off. And the next day, I remember just listening to it all day long and memorizing everything about it and like loving the song Lucky. Like I thought that was like my favorite song on the album at the time.
Hmm.
I remember the video premiering on Disney. I
For
just remember
Lucky.
for no, I'm sorry
For Oops, I Did It Again.
for Oops. I remember the performance on MTV and it being so iconic with her ripping off the suit and it's like a flesh colored bejeweled
Hmm.
outfit.
Yes.
I do remember that's when I noticed like people love to hate people that are super popular. Like it's like a thing that we do. We're like, I hate them. Like
Hmm.
it's kind of like people just love to hate what everybody loves just cause. And I remember that's when all that started. Like I watch that performance now and I don't really think it's that provocative.
Mm.
She's fully covered and yes, clothes are flying off and I get it, but it's very I don't even find it suggestive except for the clothes coming off. I just think it looks like a girl that's changing because we do that all the time. Like pop stars are in a different outfit all the time. I do get it was for controversy. I do know that they knew, but I'm jumping around, but I do want to say like if people to like for someone who was there the entire time, I know you were too. I do find that um to go into a darker situation that this is like you said she's 17 and one of the most I don't think people can understand how popular Britney Spears was. Like you can compare like this was online like so this is actually going around on TikTok about was Britney Spears as popular as Beyonce is now and they were like, "Whoa, it's hard to it's a different world." Like I would say because this is gonna get people are gonna get mad at me. I would say Britney Spears was bigger than Taylor Swift is now. Maybe not sale wise, like numbers, like we do now, like how things are so.
Hmm.
It's just different. Britney Spears was selling like drink commercials in Japan. I don't think that.
Hmm.
I think outside of America.
That legendary commercial with Beyonce and Pink. Yes.
Well, yeah, but that's Pepsi. She was also selling these Japanese drinks and like these snacks on a plane. Like she did special commercials for cars in different countries.
Yeah.
Like the world like knew who Britney was. And I know the world knows who Beyonce is. I know the world knows who Taylor Swift is. It's not a put down. It's just we will never have another pop star like I think Michael Jackson, Madonna, Britney
Yeah.
Spears, Justin Bieber. I think we now know it's so unhealthy to have that that you won't get that again. And I'm not that saying that we should. That's why I think it's really hard. Like Beyonce could have been, I think, but I think Beyonce has a lot more people protecting her than other people do. Same thing with Taylor
Hmm.
Swift.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're separate. Britney Spears was Britney Spears, and she was the product, if that makes sense. They get to be the
Hmm.
persona
Yes.
inside, but it wasn't. People craved that. Like if you watch old interviews with Britney, you can tell it's just a she's being Britney Spears. And
Mm-hmm.
then when it came time to be on stage, she's being the other Britney Spears.
Hmm.
And she was very honest with all that. I think you got to see somebody give their all, especially during
Yeah.
this era. I think during the Oops era, she was everywhere. She was filming that movie before, and I know it came out with the third album, but
Yeah.
she was filming that movie. She was in another movie.
Crossroads.
Yeah, she was in a movie where she played a flight attendant with all the other people in the pop store at the time. I
Hmm.
forgot what it's called.
I don't remember that either.
She guest starred on, like I already said, that she was guest starring on Famous Jake Jackson, Sabrina the Teenage Witch,
Hmm. Yep.
in a lot of things. Like she was also in talks to be in Dawson's Creek, but that she was too busy. She was supposed to
Yep.
film a 3 episode arc in
Yep.
Dawson's Creek. She
Yep.
was supposed to be in Scary Movie, but it fell through. There's interviews
Hmm.
that you see. So that era, I think this era, like especially Baby and stuff, she's just being catapulted. I think a lot of things think it's been signed to like it was planned, but I think it was just she was hungry for a career and like had to because there's no money, and
Hmm.
the manager who only had her at the time, Larry
Yep.
Rudolph. So all the attention, like they were banking on her. So it's like a recipe for, and then she had a good ear. She had Max Martin. So I think that
Yep.
these first two albums were just really they defined the sound for teen pop, and I think you just really cemented that star. And of course, what comes next, which we can talk about. We'll let you talk about Oops, but we'll talk about what comes next, which is now like ingrained in what we do to Disney stars. But
The conservatorship,
no,
or
I was
I
gonna.
mean, because I mean, I think that's of course that is of course a huge part of the reason why she was as much of a product as she was because she was being controlled behind the scenes. She didn't have like total autonomy, and the extent
Yeah,
to which the extent to which that happened is like a level of cruelty that I think we were not really used to being made aware of until like before we do it, and then now that we know it, and it was really horrifying. And the truth is that that's actually been happening to a lot of stars in movies and music for decades, but people didn't really know about it until it was after, because if the public had been made aware, or even if like their own, or even if the people close to them who cared about them were made aware, it probably would. I mean, there would have been more public outrage about it, and there might have been public pressure to to change the standards, and as there should have been. I mean, Judy Garland was horribly abused when she was a child, especially during The Wizard of Oz. It affected her whole life. And so the fact that this still goes on, I think, speaks to both the immorality of the industry still, and yet still the same desire to be part of the firmament and to be a star like still will always exist. But so obviously the next album was Britney. This is her third album, and of course came out with her arguably her most iconic song and certainly her most iconic performance, which is I'm a Slave for You.
oh my God.
Easily one for the history books. You can look up any list of like greatest MTV VMA performances of all time, and that one lands like at or near the top. And with good reason. She just looked amazing. Like the snake was amazing. The dance routine can be widely imitated by gay boys all over Instagram and TikTok. You will see like countless reels of it. Like we all had that. We all had that down pat. We were all just like, or tried to anyway. I'm not gonna say I ever mastered it, but I tried. But it's just so interesting. And again, the way she became a queer icon without specifically marketing her music towards the queer audience.
Well,
Yeah,
I
it's
think
just
she was just genuine. Like she was having a good time, and everybody wants to be
yep,
a part of that.
yes, yep.
This, I think it's like the blueprint now for every Disney star that wants to break away from Disney. Even though Britney was, I mean, she's different
Mm,
because she was never a Disney. She was a Disney star, but not like the ones now. She wasn't like a Lizzie McGuire, she wasn't a Hilary Duff or a
Miley Cyrus.
Miley Cyrus or a Selena Gomez because
Is Demi Lovato one of them too? Is she
yeah.
also Disney? Yeah, okay.
Um, She's not a Raven Simone, all them. She was on the Disney Channel, but I think she was partnered with the Disney Channel a lot, with all the performances and all like the concert series. I will say though, like now it's like a thing. Every young girl now has that like sexy era. Again, I'm older, and I think there's a lot more nuanced. I'm not older than you. I'm saying like I'm older than like what people like. I find that people talk about these subjects don't understand because they weren't like a. I'm not discrediting anything. Like when I listen to people talk about Britney Spears in that era, and they weren't like hyper aware, they easily forget about paparazzi and like how physically intrusive the time was, and how you would go on talk shows like that has popped up. And people would just ask you about your virginity and your sexuality, but we're like, no, 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 don't show it. No, no, no. And you're like, but you're asking me. Like, you're asking me more intrusive thoughts,
Yep.
intrusive things than me dancing around showing my midriff. Like,
Yep. Yeah. No. Yeah.
I never understood like the time that I grew up in the obsession with people's sexuality and like things like that really it really is gross. Like I always thought it was gross, but when you look back and you're like, why are we asking these questions? But this is like another I will say this, like I'm jumping around. So I have so much knowledge that I just jump around. I will say the Britney era is like one of the most iconic, but it's her lowest charting singles ever on Billboard because the radio was boycotting her because she signed with a different touring place. Then so the radio was sponsored her tours before, or they had a deal with the tour, and since she went with a different one and I forgot the name, they would boycott her music. Slave for You, I think, charted the highest at 20 something because all her
Mm-hmm.
other singles would chart higher. So she didn't have she had like one top 40 hit, I think, or something like that. I'm not quite sure from this era, but the album sales were fantastic. Like she always had fantastic album sales. Because her only number one single until I hate to say it, like it may have been I don't know if she had a number one during Blackout.
Mm.
It wasn't until like Femme Fatale after Baby One More Time. She did not have like that many like. That's what so I think is so awesome about Britney Spears. She doesn't have the super hits that everybody like we did. But they're all memorable. Does that make sense? Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
I used to know all this stuff. Britney.
Well, I mean, but you know, we could go through like I think we're going to go through all her albums,
No, we could go through eras. Like she
but
has
I
six.
also right because she did because she had eras before Taylor did. But what is it specifically like? Why? I want to talk specifically like why is like what does she mean to you? Like
What is
why?
Britney? Um,
Yeah.
It's just like she was. It's a lot like Buffy. Like I mean, I remember like in your formative years that there's. I don't know if it has to do with being like gay or different. There was just like something about Britney Spears that I felt similar to her. Like the way that she
Mm,
talked, it really felt like it. I guess the real person. Like it's hard to like say this. Like I just loved watching her, and I wanted like everything about her seemed so effortless, and
mm,
every performance seemed so grand. And it wasn't just the production. Like Britney may not do the moves like so intricate like a dancer, but like a trained dancer, even though she can. But it was so all eyes were on her. It's like that. It's a true example of that X factor that people talk about
mm-hmm.
burning so
Yeah.
bright. Like it was just burning so bright for my entire
Mm,
middle school through college, like, and she's just there, like she was just there, and the whole world was watching because we don't have like monoculture anymore, but the whole world was watching.
mm-hmm.
I i didn't identify with her music, like if you want to say like how I can identify with a lot of the Taylor Swift's music, like I felt like because we were the same age and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't, that's not what I wanted Britney for. Britney, if you wanted that, you could listen to her in interviews. So I think that's what's so dynamic about Britney. I'm having a great time with her music. It makes me want to dance. It's very crisp, it's clean, like it's an adventure. There's a lot of variety. Like I don't think you can listen to any Britney album and say, except for the first two,
Mm-hmm.
but they're still different, that this is Britney has made the same music. It's
Mm-hmm.
I think it's all pop music, but they have so many like there's so much variety I find in
Mm-hmm.
all her stuff. So you never knew what you were gonna get in an album. Like you're like, is it gonna be more candy pop or is it gonna have a hip hop influence? Is it gonna have different kind of influences, like the production? Is it gonna be what kind of ballad is she gonna do? You know she's gonna do a couple. There was just always just like unpredictableness with Britney. Like what's the performance?
Hmm.
How big is it gonna be? What's she gonna wear? Who what is this? Like it was always so interesting and she always let you in the whole time, like all the interviews and the specials. Like she was there was always a camera and I don't know, like I don't know how to like I hope that's explaining why she's so special. She also just seemed very similar. Like it's not like we had anything in common, I don't think, but it's like you just see similar thought processes in the person and she's getting to live that life. I mean, she's also from Louisiana like I am, but
All right. Yeah. No, yeah, no. I'm not saying it's that only that. I personally think that like in a society in a patriarchy where like men are running things and calling the shots, I do think that gay men naturally gravitate towards any woman who is like strong and unapologetic and like, rises to the top to be successful. But also the knowledge that like once it become clear that she was having meltdowns behind the scenes and like when she shaved her head and how that like and how she was still like coming out and like going back and making more music after that. I think there's also this sense of like, oh, she's being like privately she's being abused. I think as and queer people, of course, because we're on the outskirts of society and we've been marginalized for so long, I think we also resonate to that as well. This idea that we have to be, this idea that we have to be um, like all cute and entertaining, just to like stay alive, um, and non-threatening, and so I feel like that's part of it too. And if that's nonsensical or like not properly formed, I don't know. This is all like shooting from this is all shooting from the hip. That no, but I mean I have. But that being said, I mean I think I've like followed pop culture long enough to know that I've noticed this pattern as well. Um, I definitely think that that's the case. And I also feel like and I think she also because of that she inspires a lot of like protective feelings towards her. But she has always inspired like fierce devotion and a sense of protectiveness amongst her fans, like like the infamous Chris Crocker like "Leave Britney Alone" meltdown.
sorry.
Yes.
Like I'm not. I actually. It's just to be funny before I lose the moment. So I was in college when that happened, and you won't believe how many messages I got when that article came out that said Britney fan makes videos saying leave Britney alone. Of how many were like, is this you?
That's awesome. You've never told me that story before, but I honestly,
I
like,
got so many
I knew that's where you were going with it before
they
you
were
even
like,
told me.
is this you? Like not like the look wise. Like the headline would say that, and they were like, is that good?
Before seeing the photo of who it was, they
Yes,
were
they were
like,
like,
did you do that?"
yeah. I was like, no,
I know, but you were there in solidarity.
I would
That
have.
is that's so awesome. So that's really funny. Yeah, but her star power was undeniable. And oh my god, I was in the same room with her for like 2 seconds.
I remember you saying that about
I
the
know I told you
restaurant.
that story. Yeah, no, but yeah, she had a restaurant in New York, and my dad was a meat salesman, and he sold her restaurant. It was called Nyla NYLA for New York LA. I don't think she really wanted to do it. I think she was more like pressured into like co-owning it.
Was
But
your
I was
dad?
there collecting a check, and she literally like that's correct. I'm correct. I think you told me that actually. But I was there collecting, like a check for my father's company, and I turn around and she walks right in, with like two bodyguards, and this was 2003, so she was so cute and so tiny, and she had the beret on, and like with like the short. She was so adorable, and she seemed really sweet. And that's another thing. She's one of those people who, anytime anyone asks other people about her, everybody says she's so nice. Like I've never heard anyone say a bad word about her ever. So that speaks volumes too. And I was really excited, and I called my dad, and my dad was like, "Oh my," and I was like, I was like, Britney Spears just walked in, and he called the chef and tried to like get me a meet and greet, and they were like, no, and I was like, and I get it. But I mean, that's she was like she's a rocket ship. She was just like so extraordinary, and so I think, and sweet and well-meaning and wanting to just like, make people happy. And I feel so bad that she has suffered so much and has been so abused by her family, by the system. Like she deserves the world. And I think that, and then the shaved head incident, I think happened right before Blackout, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Blackout, I thought was like a step forward for her musically. I thought that,
Yeah, it's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, like as one of the most iconic albums to be
is
created.
it?
Yeah.
What? Really? It's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as one of the most iconic albums ever.
Let's see what it's. I mean, that's what I know. It's in there.
Did not realize that.
Blackout, Britney.
Y'all, we are so tech savvy. We're doing research for you in real time while we make this.
So in 2012, iconic 2007 album Blackout was added to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Library and Archives, recognized it as a landmark in music history. It was included for its immense influence on pop music, having shifted the genre towards electropop and modern production techniques.
Yeah. That one also had Break the Ice on it, didn't it?
Oh, yes.
Oh, I know.
Get there. But I will say this about Britney, like it fits on what you're saying. You won't really find many, because I'm sure there is some. When somebody would try to get Britney to talk about another celebrity or down on somebody else, she would not do it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Somebody said that Britney should die, and she'd be like, "Well, maybe she should just get laid." Like Britney would say stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna find many of her talking bad. I know there's some Fred Durst drama where I think she lied about hanging out with him or hooking up with
Yeah.
him. But I don't think that was. She never said anything ugly, and
Hmm.
there's so many people who said ugly things about her.
Yeah.
And you
Which
know,
is, yeah. But was it people who knew her, or was it just like self-appointed cultural critics who claimed that she was like declassing? Yeah.
Christina Aguilera, Justin Timberlake, they all took their punches about
Oh yeah, it was really just those two though, wasn't it? Was there anybody else? Like on a personal level?
Avril Lavigne, I think Kelly Osbourne, this girl named Katie Rose that did the song from Mean Girls. Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They all like she was being promoted to be the anti-Britney, so was Avril Lavigne, and they would say stuff about Britney's music and how.
About her music.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Right.
not many people, I guess, because
But
you know.
about her? But about
I don't
her as a
think anybody said
person?
anything about her personality, but it was just like, I wish she'd die. She's a terrible example to,
Right.
um, you know.
Exactly. Which is such, yeah, exactly. Which is such
I
a
love
horrifying
when
thing to say.
Brittany's watching that video. She's like, I think she shouldn't show so many clothes because such a, she's such a influence on little children. And she was like, she's watching and she's like, little children. Or
Yeah.
someone says, what does your boyfriend think about you making out with this guy? And she goes, it's a movie. It's pretend you're an adult. You should know that. I love when she would pop off to these people. But it would be sweet. Like it would be like, well, it's a movie. You should know that.
Mm.
Pretend. Um, and there was just little things like, and she was like, I'm not answering that question. She just started. How I feel about Britney, and what I guess this is one thing I look up at. I always think Britney. Well, again, I know that she would go along with a lot of things, especially after the Britney era. The In the Zone is my favorite album, and I think that's when
Yeah.
she started. She always talked that she wanted to get married and all this stuff, and that was the most grueling tour. It was my favorite era because she was everywhere, which is terrible probably for her mental health and body that she was performing everywhere. But it was just the best music. It was toxic, me against the music. Every time she had Touch of My Hand, Breathe on Me, outrageous. There was just so many of these like early morning, these some of my favorite songs on this album, and the visuals were beautiful. It was the Onyx Hotel tour. She had already went through that smear campaign after Justin Timberlake, after the allegations that she cheated on him with Wade Robinson, who was her like the person who did her tour for the Dream Within a Dream tour, which was her biggest, most iconic tour
Hmm.
so and there was allegations that he cheated, and after they had been promised that she had or she said that she was a virgin until marriage, and then they said
Uh,
he did, and then Justin says that he took her virginity. There's just a lot of private stuff, and then of course that song "Cry Me a River" came out with her lookalike, and everybody was all against it. And he had to get permission. I know, jumping around to use her image or her likeness in it, and she okayed it. And so that's the kind of person she was. Like she okayed it. Like it was obviously going to give her.
yeah.
She would say something like she goes, maybe I shouldn't have in hindsight, but I. That's like my view. Like somebody who's getting all this hate because they're a superstar. okay,
Hmm.
like because she doesn't want to interfere with you, telling your story and you're getting. But I will say, like, I guess let's say she was in the most control, I think, of her career during In the Zone, and
Yeah.
that's when it started spiraling to make her like, which I'll give it back to you, and then I'll go over like the Lost album and like all that
Okay.
before Blackout. But I just think
Okay.
it all started when she wanted to get married. The marriage that they got annulled. Then she married K-Fed, and
Hmm.
she just wanted out. She wanted her own life,
Yeah, for sure.
and they've already created this machine that they want to keep going.
Yes, which seems to be the theme of like a lot of the music. I remember one time a friend of mine made a joke like about like a studio exec being like, "All right, Brittany, I'm not sure I understand what you're going through. It seems like you're going through a lot. I understand and I respect that, but you need to get your ass back in the studio." And I thought it was funny, but I also thought it was sad. But FYI, what I wanted to say is quick side note detour. I highly recommend to everyone watching this video to buy the audiobook of Britney Spears' book
Yes, it's so
and
good.
listen to it. It's read by a five-time Oscar nominee Michelle Williams. And let me tell you, it will add years to your life. It is so entertaining.
Faux shiz, faux shiz, faux shiz.
Yes. So please do this. She's not paying me to plug her book, but I'm genuinely telling you, it is one of the most delicious audiobook experiences that is out there. So yes, please do that. Okay. So I do feel like after Blackout, I think Circus was kind of more of like a retreat to like familiar territory. It was like just more a little bit more basic, fun, but like still like kind of like a more older Britney a little bit. And then I think Femme Fatale was next, and I liked that album a lot. It was more fun. I think it was more fun, and I think it was more when she started to embrace her image, at least the camp aspects of her image. When she started using like silly puns in her songs, like "Hold It Against Me." What am I talking about? "If You Seek Amy" was before that, but even still. And then there's "Till the World Ends," which is such a jam. So, and then it's unfortunate that she only event. Well, it's just so sad that she got so burned out and so abused that she only made two more albums after that. And her second to last one is Britney Jean, which is widely regarded as the worst album she's ever made. So like it's not the worst album that's ever been made, but it's like her weakest one. So I don't think that that's generally a consensus by the fans. And then she made what I consider to be her magnum opus, Glory, her final album, which I think is a remarkable album and shows incredible artistic growth. I think it's is the most personal she's ever gotten, and I feel like if she hadn't decided to say screw it all, and I commend her for that, I would have hoped that we would have got. I feel like we would have gotten more in that direction. It would have been remarkable because there are plenty of bangers in that album, but they're more like slower. They're more intimate and they're more revealing than they'd ever been before. And I felt really privileged to be in on that and to feel that like she was like really almost in a way letting us see almost the real her for the first time in a more unguarded way than usual. And maybe that's why she bounced because it was just too much.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. Like, if we want to go, like, so, right before Blackout, she was recording this album that was going to be called The Original Doll.
Mm,
After, she had. So, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to. I guess people can look all this stuff up. So, during, she didn't like the Onyx Hotel tour, even though it's my favorite one. She wanted to stop. And she was filming a music video for Outrageous, which you can find the clips with Snoop Dogg and stuff online. And then she basically broke her knee on that video.
oh no.
And so they had to cancel the tour. This is when she was filming that chaotic TV show with K-Fed. Like they were just filming it. Like they weren't like it wasn't sold to anything. But this is that time. It's really well documented on home video, and then they sold it to CW or the CW, the UPN, and it aired. But this is when
Mm,
the hate smear is like at its highest. Like she canceled the tour. She had a stadium tour that she had to cancel the last night because of the storm and during the Britney
okay.
era. There's a whole documentary on that. But anyway, this is where the marriage starts. Like she that hasn't happened yet. That had happened. She's dating K-Fed. She breaks her knee. She wants to stay home. She would release, I think, to get out of one of her contract or whatever. She releases the greatest hits were my
Yeah.
prerogative, and then she does Do
Yeah.
Something, which she directed the Do Something video, and so there's a lot of like stuff happening. So
Okay.
so then all the erratic stuff, like she has two kids and she gets a divorce. So there's just that time. There's that time where like we embrace it. I'm not saying it. Like I'm just saying like it's very much her new persona. People are basically calling her like white trash and she or wait, or what should like
So shameful, so
or like
disgusting.
she's
People.
trashy, like trailer park trash. So then like she gets a divorce and people expect her to go back to like, the other Britney. But then that doesn't happen. She like serves her mom with papers. They're focusing on Jamie Lynn. Like she doesn't want to be around her mom anymore. And she goes on this Eminem tour. I don't know if you know where the House of Blues tour.
Hmm.
And she uses all the same choreo as before. And it's actually the last time I think a lot of fans consider that the last time you see Britney perform, like the old Britney. So
Okay.
she's lip singing, but she's in the wigs because she shaves her head. Well, the whole world stops because she shaved her head. So
Okay.
I remember discussing that in college. Like I remember, my whole English class was like, Britney Spears just shaved her head. We're talking about this. But I do remember like she didn't. But just to draw, I know this is probably like when I know that she wanted people to stop touching her and she didn't want to be considered pretty anymore, so she shaved her head. Is one of her comments.
Oh, it's awful.
But she still records the music, and this is where she finishes the album. It was supposed to be called Original Doll. She released that Mona Lisa song on the radio, and the label came in and said no, and then they polished it up and put it on the Chaotic EP, the TV show that she was filming with K-Fed.
Okay.
So that does come out, but they don't use her vision, and then she goes in there with Danger, who is the protege to Timberland,
Okay.
and they just create her and Carrie Wilson,
Carrie Hilson.
Carrie Hilson, yeah, and they work on the album together, and then it starts to come out, and then she books the VMA, and I don't think she was really, ready for that, which I don't really find that much wrong with that performance, except for her hair, I
Okay.
guess. But all that comes
Except for
out.
her hair. Did you see her hair?
I don't think it's bad. I just think that they said that she didn't let them finish.
Okay.
The performance really isn't. It's not what it used to be, but it isn't that bad. But anyway,
Okay.
the album comes out and the album is fantastic. And I think obviously I just remember it was always like what's gonna happen next and then like what's gonna but it was just like a really chaotic era. Like if you see she can't even like drive without the
Mm-hmm.
paparazzi like hounding her. Like she gets in a couple of car wrecks too. She almost like during earlier in that time she almost drops her baby because of the paparazzi. But it's just like a sea of people always around her in the middle of the road. And and I hate to say it, that was normal for back then. Like, you would just see like paparazzi following everybody, and everybody's like, that's part of, like, I literally remember people, like, I'd be like, that's terrible. And they're like, they signed up for it. I don't feel bad for them. They signed up for it to be famous. And I was like, I don't think anybody signs up for that. Like, I don't
Yeah.
he signs up for people
It,
wanting to know every little thing about you. I think that that's really hard to comprehend now because we voluntarily put that stuff up on social media, but we still control it. Like you can still control your narrative. She couldn't even like go outside. Like there's a lot of times I go check the mail or go get coffee and I look like horrible, but no one's taking a picture of me, right? Like if I want to, I can take my own and put it out there, but I'm not being hounded and they're like, well, look how and all the horrible angles. And this was this girl's life 24/7 of
oh,
like
except for me hiding in the bushes, but yeah, behind
but I
your
think
house.
that's where like we always wonder why she behave erratically, like talking in different accents and stuff. But I do that on the regular now. Like there's a lot of things. I might be mentally unstable. I don't know, but I think there's a lot of things that happen, a mixture with like too much stuff happening at an early age, where people saw that a product was going to go away and so I think that's why she was like 5150 and there was I'm sure there was enough erratic behavior because she's young and there was talks that they gave her like bipolar medicine and she wouldn't take they didn't take it correctly. I don't know. That's all in those documentaries that are not being said out loud by Britney Spears, but by people around her. But I will say, like, yeah, Blackout was truly, she was executive producer of that album. I think it's a
Hmm.
fantastic album. I think it's something that whenever you give Britney creative control, you get things like that. Like, right, it's on and you get things like the Baby One More Time video, you get things like Give Me More, you get things like the Do Something video, which is one of my favorites. That because I always get mad, and my friends say it too. Some of my gay friends, they were like, "Britney's not an artist; she's a pop star." And I was like, I understand like that critique, but at this age now, I'm just like, there's different kinds of art. It doesn't have to be this deep, dark, like edgy thing. There's something to be said about Britney Spears tours especially the first four her music videos that she had a big hand in. Like they were all they're very iconic, like Toxic, Womanizer. I will say, if you really want to see Britney, and a lot of the fans say this too, being Britney, there's Up All Night through the In the Zone era.
Hmm.
But the Britney Spears for the record is is extremely honest in a way that I don't think that they, if you watch it from the lens of now, you would be like, why they let her like talk about all this stuff? Because she talks about the conservatorship. She talks about how rigid it is and how and like she's crying on it and she's talking about why things like it's a very honest, like you never see it again, like they never do it again, like the Femme Fatale documentary and all this other stuff.
Mm.
It doesn't happen
I don't think I
again.
saw that actually.
It was a big deal. I remember it premiered. I stayed up late and watched it on MTV, and I have it on DVD. But it's
Oh
Britney
wow.
Spears for the record. Like it goes through the making of Circus, and
Oh, okay.
there's a lot of talk. And this is the last time too that you get that where she's like she breaks down in the documentary and talks about. They're like, well, what about it? Is it not like you didn't have enough control? She's like, no, it's too. My life is too in control now. She said it's not balanced. Like it went from being no control to she goes like every day is Groundhog Day. She said I wake up and it's the same thing and
Mm.
it's hard to be creative and she just cries and she looks at the camera dead on and she said I'm sad and like she's crying.
You know what? I think I actually do remember that. I don't know. I don't know if I ever saw the whole thing, but I remember that seems like clips. Maybe, or maybe I did, and it just wow. Okay, I need to rewatch this.
There's a lot of gifts from it too, and I think we looked at it more as like shame on you, Brittany. Back then, like you should have behaved, and this wouldn't be happening. This serves you right, and you can't watch that documentary now, and I don't find and think that way. Like there's a lot of they were like, "You always get your way. You're a spoiled brat." She goes, "I never get my way." Like, and she's in there, and she's on her phone, and her dad's trying to take her phone, and he's yelling, and but there's a lot like knowing now what happened. You're like, but she came up with the there's a time where she's sitting there talking to people and her dad and she's like I have a video concept for Womanizer and she goes it's like a Toxic 2 and I have all the different looks like in Toxic and this is in and he gets so excited and he starts saying stuff and she starts rolling around she goes no not that like we're not doing that but you could tell like she was excited to work and I think I don't think they were like being people were being malicious but I do think people know there's money being made, and Britney Spears is the product, like not her as well, but the name, and they were just anxious to make it all go away. That's how I think it started with Circus. That they were like, we have her in the studio, we gave her structure, she loves it, she wants to do this. Let's make a whole album. We have this song Circus. Hey, let's make it a circus theme. Like we love a theme, which Circus is a great song. It's a great video. If You Seek Amy, a great concept, and it's Max Martin again. Max Martin had a big hand to play in this album too. He didn't do Womanizer. Bloodshine Avant, who did Toxic, did Womanizer, and then her
Oh, okay.
and the people who did Blackout. That's like Bloodshot and Avant. They're not together anymore. That producers. They did a lot of Blackout too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it was like a bridge because Womanizer could go on Blackout. I think it's a little bit poppier.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then you had the greatest hits directors, like you had Joseph Kahn, who did Womanizer, who did Toxic, Stronger. He did a lot of Taylor Swift stuff, but he was like her iconic imagery was
Oh,
used. The guy who directed, I want to say Slave for You, I could be wrong, directed Circus. And so they were like pulling out all the old, that's why you see like it's like a revert back. I think they were pulling out all the old stops for Circus.
mhm.
I like Circus because it's a variety album. I think
Is it a variety album? What do you mean by that?
like you have Out From Under, you have Unusual You who are experimental sounding but they're pop, but Out From Under is from a Bratz album though. I don't think that it's like great. I don't know why they
Okay.
but Radar is from Blackout, but they had a deal with Bloodshot and Advent to make it a single and they never did it on Blackout, so they had to put it on. That's why that song's twice. I think
Okay.
Blur is Blur on that album? Is Blur let's see. I don't let's see Circus. I should know all this stuff, but I'm not as
Yes, you are. Don't sell yourself short.
I'm not as on the daily researching it. Yeah, Blur. Blur is such a good album. It's like a deep sense. Just like it's basically about I can't remember what I did last night. It's all just a blur, and it's like sensual. Mannequin is really interesting and uses a lot of like you can hear the real instruments in it, and it's really great. It's
Hmm.
a song to League from Circus. She was dancing, and she was dancing like she used to in it. If y'all want, she's in a yellow top. If y'all look it up on YouTube or whatever, it's like a grand performance. Which I think it was hard for her to do a full show again, so they kind of like scaled down the circus because the circus tour is really fun to watch. She has energy, but it's not near as what it was before.
Okay.
And what else did you have? Shattered Glass, Kill the Lights. I feel like that album is borderline like a mixture between Blackout and In the Zone. Not near as memorable, but I think it's like enough. I think the tour was fun, and
Hmm.
I know that there was talks like if she behaved and did, and I could be wrong, but there's some like if you put quotes together and behind the scenes that she would have more time with her kids if she just did what she was supposed to do and prove that she was stable. And that time never came. Does that make sense? So then I know that then Femme Fatale happened, and you could tell that she's a little even less Britney during this era where she's like
Uh,
robotic and she looks fantastic, but her body does look different and her voice is different. But the music's really good, and it is a more generic album in my opinion. But it does intertwine that what is it called, that dirty like club it was a big deal, that dance music that was a big deal that she kind of brought to the mainstream.
dirty club music.
Like it's like that film fatale. It's music. Film fatale. No, I want film fatale. Britney. What was it called? The genre of it. Electro. No, it's EDM. Incorporates EDM. What was it called?
That's a good question. This
Dubstep.
sounds.
Dubstep. It's whenever dubstep took over.
Oh,
Because Hold It Against Me has a lot of dubstep in it, and then
yes. Okay.
a lot of the other stuff that said like you would hear dubstep and all those club musics and stuff. I loved Hold It Against Me. I remember the countdown. I loved it. I
Yep.
was like so excited. I love Seal It with a Kiss on that album.
Hmm.
I love Till the World Ends. I saw Britney Spears in
Yep.
concert for this tour. I wish I could have seen her for
Oh
Circus, but it was a
wow.
nursing tour. And my instructor told me that she would fail me if I skipped clinicals to go see Britney in Shreveport.
Ah, no.
So when Film Fatale came out, I had graduated and I was like, I'm going to see Britney in New Orleans. And it was the most fun in my entire life. Like I was like, I got to see.
Oh, I'm so happy for you. That's amazing. That's awesome.
Now the B tracks to this album are better, and you can tell that she loves her B tracks because she performed He About to Lose Me, which if you haven't heard He About to Lose Me, listen to it. If you haven't
Okay.
heard, there's a song, there's a lot of B tracks to Circus that are good, like Rock Me In, Rock Boy, Quicksand, that's written by Lady Gaga from Circus.
Okay.
Is so good. He About to Lose Me, Up and Down, those are B tracks, and Selfish, but she performed those on tour. I'ma be a little selfish. And me and my cousin, because she sounds like she's saying shellfish, we'd be like, be a little shellfish.
Yes.
I love, and then He About to Lose Me is such a great song. And she sang it live for the first half of the tour, and then they cut it because I think they had to cut for time. Up and Down, she kept, I want to say, and it's like it's a jail theme.
Okay.
So there's a lot of, like, you could tell, I think she was because I saw her at the end of that tour.
Okay.
I will say that that album was fun. I think it's one of her least favorites because she doesn't really perform those songs.
Okay.
She didn't perform it in her like Vegas show or anything. I think that was one of the least songs she performed.
Okay.
And then after that, she did X Factor, which we don't have to really hit on that. I don't think she wanted to do that.
That's okay.
I think a lot of things, this is when people forgot about the conservatorship. There's a lot of talk during the conservatorship during Femme Fatale because she did seem, I didn't want to say, I hate the term drug. She did seem a little flat at the beginning of the era. Something wasn't right, right? There was obvious weight gain, even though she didn't look bad. I'm not shaming. But it was like puffiness. And then she was sluggish in interviews. She was sluggish in the dance moves. So you saw this pop star build herself back up, but you're like, what is this? Like, I thought she was better. But then she got, in her groove back. And I'm not shaming, I don't want anything like, I loved Britney Spears, but people, like the fan base was worried. Like they weren't I don't feel like the true fans were shaming her. I think it was like, what are we doing? And then, she was on tour every night or during the
Yeah.
week.
Yes.
for Vegas, and she seemed again there was worry because she didn't seem like Britney, but then they did the second leg, and this is where I think you talk about like she revamps the show. She looks like Britney Spears again. She records. I'm jumping over the Iggy Azalea Pretty Girls era.
Hmm.
But she records Glory basically and comes out with Make Me. And, the show is really good. She's dancing like she used to. Like, you could tell that she wants to be there. But then here's where the cracks come again. She records an album with Dave Chappelle, not or whatever.
La Chapelle, is it David La Chapelle?
Yeah, like he directs the music video for Make Me, and it never
Yep.
comes out. And then this really cheap, quick made music video comes out, and they said because Britney hates it. Well, that video leaked. The original Make Me music video leaked, and it is sensual, but it shows her in a cage. It shows her in chains. Like it has a lot of like symbolism in it, and it never came out, but it did leak.
Uh,
So the fans were upset, but she returns to the VMAs, and it's a good performance. It is a very controlled performance. But she does like
okay.
a performance at the Billboard Awards where she performs like songs all throughout her career. That's how it kind of start this era before Make Me comes out. Like it's a great show. So you have all this hype, and she's building momentum, and she's actually doing interviews that she seems interested in. Like she goes on one interview, I want to say in England, and she talks about the conservatorship, and then it gets edited out. But the clips of the original one is still there. You can find it. So she talks about it there, and then I mean she does Good Morning America. No, yeah, and because she does that Do You Want to Come Over song, and then Slumber Party comes out. Anyway, like then she goes on the world tour. The Piece of Me work. It's not just in Vegas anymore.
Right.
And then they're gonna do Domination, the new residency. So I think that she had a lot of input. I should say, like I remember she was inspired by Selena Gomez's album with what was it called? It wasn't called not the rare one. It had Good for You and all that stuff on it.
Right. I remember that being Selena Gomez's like big single.
Yeah, and then she had Hands to Myself and Same Old Love. She was inspired by that album. So Julia Michaels, obviously, she helped Britney do this album. Had a lot of hands on. Like you could tell, it's a very Britney album. The Just
Hmm.
Love Me, the Invitation, all of it really rings back to me to the In the Zone era, where the last time
Hmm.
Britney had a lot of control over her album. Besides Blackout, I think Blackout was just a part. Like she had a lot of control over it, but she worked with a single. She worked with Moby again. I want to say for
Hmm.
and she worked. I don't know if his song's on, but she worked with a lot of different people for Glory, and I think that shows. Like she had a lot of like she has a song that is French themed, but she sings in French. She has
Yes.
Your Mind that she sings in Spanish on. Like it's a lot of variety and a lot of different
Yes.
producers as well.
Yes.
And I think that that's why I think that especially the B tracks, like Love You Down, I think is a B track, and I love that song. Just Love Me is a really great song. I love Man on the Moon. Is that one of them? That's a
I think so.
and
And
then
there's Slumber Party also.
I love Summer Party with Tanashi.
Yeah.
That's the remix. But I want to say after that, I'm dominant. I'm sorry, I'm dominant. I will say she starts having more, I think, say, and then they cancel domination and she disappears. Remember, then that's when the Free Britney movement starts.
Yes.
And then she's never kind of the same again.
Oh, I know. It's so tragic. It's so heartbreaking. How would you like to conclude? Like, would you like to conclude? Like,
I think it's important because Britney Spears' story is like I hate that like a lot of these stories end up being like tragic. I think people should have a lot more, even though I think that they do. I think when people look back on Britney Spears, there's a lot more respect now than during her time. Like I think everybody loved her, but they love to talk bad about her. And I think that that's an example of what we do as society. And hopefully that's changing. I think it is changing, but I think if you look at it, it's more sad than it comes off. I know it's bubblegum pop most of the time. It is it's an example that I kind of think about now and about how you can have all of this brightness, all of this kindness, all of this talent. And it's the first time and the only great example that I have because I guess I lived through all of it. It's an example of the world, if you don't guard yourself, taking every bit of what you have to offer and not giving anything back. And then you can never be that person again because it's all gone. There's no stop button from the outside, it's on the inside. Like if you keep giving it, the world's just going to take it. And then there's nothing left. And then that's why people want more from, but I don't think there's anything left that Britney can give us. So I'm okay with her resting and being kooky on Instagram because I don't truly think, and I know I'm like the only one that she's as crazy as people think she is. I think she's just working through some things and she makes decisions that she only thinks she knows how to do is perform. And then I'm going off on a tangent there.
It's okay.
I think that we create a lot of the monsters we point at. I'm not saying Britney's a monster. I think we took
No,
it.
I don't think she's a monster at all. And I think a lot of the dancing that she does on Instagram is like similar to the routines that she's done her whole life. So I really don't see like she's, yeah.
I agree with you, but I just think it's a warning tale. Like you may have a lot to give, but just be really careful.
Yeah. I think we have a responsibility to not assume the worst about people when we see them going through things that we don't understand. And I think it's important to try to be compassionate and not share in the necessarily like the basic just essentially I think it would be a good idea for us to be showing compassion towards people going through a hard time and to not cheer their downfall because the media or cultural critics are expressing a point of view that seems safe and conservative and displaying them as of beatability and bad behavior when the truth is that we really don't know what's going on behind the scenes and we don't know that they're like being abused frequently in order to like become show ponies for our entertainment. So when you enjoy someone's art, make sure not to act like like a scavenger when if they fall off the food chain. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like
Does that make sense?
yeah, and I also
Yeah.
would like to end it with not such a sad thing. My favorite Britney song is my ultimate favorite that I never get tired of is probably Breathe on Me from In the Zone.
Yep.
I think it's a very, very well made song that I think she was very proud of that it was in talks to be, I want to say, a single, if not one of the lead singles to. I do think that, anyway, that's my favorite song. My favorite album is In the Zone. I think
Okay.
it's my favorite era.
Oh, okay. My favorite Britney song is "I'm a Slave for You," and
Uh,
my favorite Britney album is "Glory." And
I love that you love her last album like that.
I love that. No, I think it's such an amazing album, and I think it's so underrated in her canon for some reason. I really don't know why, but I just feel like it is. And I want to say, Brittany, we love you, and we think that you deserve the world, and we hope that you find peace in your current state. And we wish you healing and peace and nothing but the best.
Yeah. And if you want to talk about more, because I know I was jumbled and you want to talk about my Britney obsession, just write comments in the video and I will
Yes.
gladly talk about it.
Comment, like, and subscribe, and tell everybody why Garrison is such a Britney connoisseur, and I have no idea what I'm talking about. Please.
Bye,
All right.
guys.
Good night, all.